Hi there, just wanted to do a quick unboxing of Kings of War box of dwarves that I've got. Been around a little while now, so I thought I'd just show people what they were. Currently the box, you get 20 dwarves in it and they're Forge Guard detachment, but basically it's guys with axes and shields. There is some options to put double axes and things like that in there as well. I'm going to be using them for a fantasy game, so I'm just sort of starting my dwarf army and I'm going to be using these models. They're $14.99 from Mantic as it stands at the moment. So just have a quick look inside the box. I'm not going to dwell on this too long, just so you can see what's in here. Just flip it over, it tells you what units they are, so you can see there the guys, pretty standard swords, shields. In this one you do actually get the option for a cannon. I'm not sure the latest ones do have that. Yeah, it's just worth looking out for that, but in this one it does, so we'll just have a quick look through those. So get it open if I can. So inside we've got quite a few different sprues, so we've got some here with the actual dwarf main models. Get it in the actual camera. Also got on things like double axes, a number of different dwarf heads. And get those in the camera. So there's a couple there, a few more further along. More shields as you'd expect. They are supposed to be our single-handed hammers, and shields is the main weapons on these units. Yeah, so pretty standard really. Obviously bases, enough for all the models. Like I say, there's 20 in here. One of the nice features with the Mantic range is that they do tend to fill up the sprue. So on this one, for instance, you'll see here you've actually got a little bulldog. Get him in the range there, camera will pick it up. You've got a little bulldog, his body, and there's also a little orc head there as well, so you could just make your base a little bit more interesting, have a few extra models and bits. There's tankard there as well. Yeah, so it varies quite a lot, but they're pretty standard, pretty much the same. Got the same one here as well. Nice pipe. I think these are the ones, well, you don't have to use them for this, but these are the ones for the company, the cannon. So you've got a guy holding a shell on this one. Yeah, another little nice touch. So just a pair of legs really, with some bones sticking out of it. Show you on that one there, just there he is. So paint that up as if obviously he's been shot down. Yeah. Just going back to these bases as well, I've got to mention, in each of them they've also put in a dead dwarf. He looks like a full dwarf, but actually when you look on the back, it's hollow. The idea is that you'd obviously make that for some sort of base or some sort of scenery. So again, they really make the most of it. The shields that do come don't have any pre-etched designs or anything like that, so for people who want to actually draw on their own stuff, that's good. If your drawing's not so great, then it's sometimes nice to have the sculpted symbols, but then it does limit what you can do. So by having it this way, you are free to put whatever design you want on them. So if you're not very good at painting nice and simply. If you are, then obviously put the symbol of the group that you want to base your army around. Got a bit of foam, and then as you can see under here, some that we've actually already made, they're already created. So as you can see there, try and get this in. Okay, so that's how they look. I know they're not quite as detailed as perhaps the Games Workshop equivalent, which is obviously what most people play in fantasy, but they're a lot cheaper, and I actually quite like the style of them. They're not quite so complicated or have quite so much detail. And when you're ranking up, obviously it's a unit of 20, but if you put them in 40s, things like that, you're not going to see all the detail anyway. And it's got all that you actually need on there. So it's got the main parts of the armour, it's got little features, so a little dagger on this guy. Each one has something slightly different on them. This one's got a little tankard at the front of him, and a dagger at the back. So you're going to get some similarities between different units. Yeah, there's a guy here with a double-handed axe. Again, single-handed axe. They're pretty easy to put together too. They match up pretty well. You get occasional gaps, but you can't help that. It's just the way these things go sometimes. So overall, I think it's quite a nice little set. Price to number of models, the quality of sculpts, still not the most amazing, but they're not so bad, and we look good when they're painted and put in ranks, which hopefully I'll be able to do without too much trouble. So yeah, I'd give that a pretty good score out of that. just for the cost price, everything else, probably give it about 7 out of 10 for Mantic. If you're looking for models that are perhaps front rank, things like that, you may want to consider something a little bit more detailed. But having said that, these would fit in nicely and make a good army. So yeah, there you go. They're $14.99 by the way. I know I mentioned it earlier, and Mantic is the company that made them.